The firing of Penn State's famous football coach sent about 2,000 angry students into the streets. They cheered to support Joe Paterno, forced out by the university for not reporting a former assistant coach who is being accused of sexual abuse of about 8 boys. But while the students involved were passionate about the 84-year-old Paterno, who is the winningest coach in the U.S., not many there were talking about the little boys who were victims today. And that bugs Penn State journalism student Dan Yesenosky. He joins me live from State College, Pennsylvania. Dan, what was your reaction when you saw, all of those people rampaging through the streets to support Joe Paterno?
Yeah, it's kind of surprising that so many people have been in support of Joe Paterno, but at the same time, he's the only coach that Penn State students here have ever known, and pretty much any Penn State fan has ever known. The fact that they have supported him so much does show how much the program means to students up here. But I think whenever you look at the big picture, just with all of the things going on with this scandal, you have to think that something had to be done. The fact that Graham Spanier was fired is one option. The fact that Joe Paterno was fired is another option. A lot of people thought that maybe he should have finished the rest of the season and then retired like he said he would do yesterday. But according to the Board of Trustees, that just was not going to be enough.
All right. What do you think about what he did?
Well, as far as the decision goes, I can't say that I disagree with it. As far as the students and their outcries last night and the rioting, I do kind of disagree with that. I don't think that, pushing live trucks over and jumping on cars is exactly the right response for students to be making. I think the focus should be more on the victims and on their families and how this is a sad story because of what happened to them, not necessarily a sad story because of what has happened to Joe Paterno in the football program.
Have the students been talking about that at all? I mean,
the students have definitely been talking about it. I think there's just a small group that are extremely disappointed about Joe Paterno specifically, whereas everyone, for the most part, is just disappointed because this had to happen at all. If you think back to a week ago today, nobody saw this coming. Maybe some of the administrators did, but none of us students had any idea that a week from then, right now, Joe Paterno would have been fired, Graham Spanier would not be the president, Tim Curley would not be the athletic director. Nobody had any clue that this was going to happen, and it all unfolded so fast that I think a lot of students are just in shock, disappointed, and taking out their anger, which is what they did last night.
Yeah. What's the mood like today?
The mood is sad. We have dark clouds here at Penn State, and I think that's fitting for the fact that this is the first day in, however many years that Joe Paterno has not been the coach here at Penn State and at Beaver Stadium. It's a sad day for Penn State. I was thinking that just walking up here. Joe Paterno is not the football coach of Penn State, and I had to have that soak in a little bit because it's just so surreal. I always wondered, would I be here whenever he was done? But I could have never imagined that I would be here and he would be done in a matter like this.
Okay. Has Joe Paterno said anything as a statement of regret for not turning in his assistant coach or explanation of why he didn't?
Joe really hasn't said too much yet. He basically said in his statement from Sunday that he wished that he would have done more. That's the quote that we're seeing around all of the national media. I wish I would have done more. And I think a lot of the administrators wish they would have done more. Graham Spanier, Tim Curley, Gary Schultz, I think everyone wished that they would have done more. But at the same time, we have to try to put ourselves in Joe Paterno's position. And I don't think any of us can say that we have been in that position before where we had to report something of that magnitude or possibly go to the police about something of that magnitude of someone who we had known for 30 years and been very close with and had no suspicion of whatsoever. So it's hard to think that Joe Paterno didn't go to the police, but at the same time, we haven't been in that position, so it's hard to make a judgment.
All right. Penn State journalism student Dan Yesenosky joining me live from State College, Pennsylvania. Dan, thank you very much.
Thank you.